Hi. So today I'll be talking about lens of perception, the lens through which we perceive reality. So what is this lens? It's a type of filter, it's a type of veil, it's a type of lens through which I, you, or everyone in this world as a subject perceives the reality, which implies there is one thing which is reality, which is real, which is authentic, which is true, which is pure. And there is other thing which is called perceived reality, which means as a person, as a subject, I perceive this reality through this lens, through this veil, through this filter. Now, what is this lens? What is this filter? What is this veil? If you go to Vedant, they call this Maya, something which curtains the cognition and superimpose its biases on reality, which means this lens of perception or this curtain, this veil, is made up of intrinsic interests, not your authentic or real interests, but interests which ego is concerned about. Ego might had picked some kind of interest during his lifetime in some hobby, in some business, maybe because of external influence, maybe because of external narratives, media, friends, family, culture. So ego internalize all these interests as its own interest, and it tries to manipulate reality. It tries to chase into reality by superimposing its own biases on the reality, which means there is something which is happening externally, which is real, which is pure, but ego perceives it as there is something which it can get out of it. And to get that thing out of that reality, it sees that reality in a certain fashion and it wants to dominate it. It wants to manipulate it, contort it in its own paradigm so that it can get that thing out of it. This lens of perception is based upon biases. If I talk about you, and let's suppose you are 20 years old, which means you have 20 years of conditioning. This conditioning is like the dirt or the dust on the surface, and it has its own biases, own inclinations towards certain things, certain people, certain goals, certain interest. All those kind of things are called inclination or biases, which means you as an ego bubble sees the reality in a biased fashion. You have certain kind of perception already which is different, which is separated from the reality. Then there is fixation. When you have biases, when you have interests, you have a fixed identity and you are fixated to certain concepts, certain paradigms, certain ideas. This whole nature, this whole universe is impermanent. There is nothing permanent here. Everything is moving, everything is transforming, everything is transmuting itself into other form, other shape, in other energy, in other channel, in other frequency. Some things which we can see very easily. Let's say you turn on the tap and the water is flowing out of the tap and you can see the movement of the water. But there are changes which are happening at the microscopic level, at cellular level, at molecular level, which we cannot perceive with our naked eyes. And the brain itself doesn't have the capacity to see these minor changes which are happening at a very small particle level. But everything is changing every single moment. Nothing is fixed. But this ego identity or this subject, which is you or which is me, we get fixated to certain ideas and we want the external environment to behave as per our fixated identity, fixated perception. We want to have things happen in a certain way and we don't want to change and we don't even want to accept this reality, this fact that everything is changing. If we are fixated to certain things, certain people, certain ideas, certain paradigms, we are inviting suffering in our life. Next is past, which is basically a combination of fixation, biases, interest, every part and all the part of our conditioning, our upbringing, our program, our algorithm. And then there is this narrative. When we have this bundle of past, when we have this bundle of storyline in our head, when our mind has a kind of idea about ourselves, about identity, about our self image, it has narratives. What do these narratives look like? These narratives are like, this person should behave like this, I should get this, I should not get this, I like this, I don't like this, I should get that opportunity, I should get that job, I should have this much amount of money, I should this, I should that. So there are so many shoulds, there are so many should nots, there are so many must, there are so many must nots. So everything is prescriptive, everything is set in stone, and everything is fixed. So this is where the suffering starts. The root cause of this suffering is clinging. We are clinging to a narrative, a storyline, an idea about ourselves, and we are totally fixed to it. In a life, in a world, in a universe where nothing is fixed, nothing is permanent, everything is changing, everything is transforming, everything is transmuting itself into a new shape and form. So, this is the root cause of suffering. And what happens when we see the reality? And when I say reality, I mean a situation, I mean an event, a person, a kind of circumstance, anything and everything, which is a part of this bigger whole. So, when we see this reality through this lens of perception, we superimpose our ideal on the reality, and then we see this reality in a version which is aligned with our own mind, which means in the external world, in the reality, we are superimposing our ideas onto the reality, and we are not seeing the reality by itself. We are seeing our mind projected onto the outer world, onto the reality, which produces different versions of reality, infinite versions of reality. There are as many realities are there as many there are minds. Every mind produces different kind of reality, and every mind has the capacity to produce infinite number of realities. As the mind changes, it produces a different type of reality. As the perception shifts, the reality shifts, which means we are experiencing our own mind into the external world. And as our mind changes, the reality changes, which means we have the power, we have the free will, we have the capacity to make choice, to shape the reality as per our own wish, as per our own nature, which is aligned with our existence. But what happens by default? We are programmed beings. We are conditioned for 10, 20, 30 years, and we don't have this understanding that we can shape the reality as we want. And eventually, we live this reality by default as per our conditioning. And this is where most of the time our reality lies, this red zone, this danger zone, this worst version of reality, which is based upon our conditioning. But as we evolve, as we let go of all these identity beliefs, paradigms, thought patterns which are conditioned and hardwired in our psyche, we come to this neutral version of reality where we are more open, we are willing to accept the challenges, we are willing to accept the reality as it is, we are open to different perceptions, and we are not fixed into the set ideas, set thought patterns. But when we evolve even further, our concept of reality becomes more malleable, we becomes more flexible, we becomes more resilient, we align ourselves with the flow of nature, with the flow of the reality, and we accept the reality as it is. We are open to what it has to offer. We don't resist the flow, and because of which we start to flow, we start to slide in the reality, and we are very less prone to suffering because we are not resisting it, And when there is no resistance, there is easiness. Even though you have pain, you don't have suffering. You're aligned with the nature, and you're inviting nature to give you the gifts which it has to offer. And you are also identifying your natural gifts, natural inclination, and offering it to reality. And you are basically in sync with the reality. You are offering the reality which you have as an existence, the gifts which you have, and the reality in response offers you, which is coming because you are in sync with it. Now, let's move to the next part of this video. So, if you really want to get the best out of any situation, you need to perceive directly without any filter. And so far, I've already explained you how this lens of perception works. And if you let go of this lens of perception, this subjective experiencer, this conditioned witness, you are actually experiencing the reality directly, what it is, what it has to offer, what it is all about. So the narrative of me, I, my, I have to, I should not, I must not. So all this chatterbox, all this paranoia of this ego identity, when you let go of it, you are in direct contact with reality. You start to understand reality in its raw form. You have let go of all the ideas which has been disturbing you, which has been creating hindrances for you to move forward, and you are actually seeing what it is. You are seeing it directly. You are seeing it in its purest form, and when you see the reality as it is, you are seeing yourself as you are, which means there is this layer of you which is basically the conditioned you, which is the conditioned you. And then beneath all this conditioning, there is this real you. And when you let go of all this conditioning, you come to the reality of yourself, which means there is reality outside and there is the real version of you beneath all this conditioning. And when you let go of your past, your conditioned interests, your conditioned biases, your conditioned fixations, your narratives, you come to this real essence of yourself and you perceive the reality as it is. You perceive yourself as it is. You start to identify and recognize your gifts, and you start to exercise and let out your expression in the reality. And when your reality and external reality comes in sync with each other, magic happens and you start to flow with the flow of nature. And the process of this is neti neti. If you go to Vedant, non-dual tradition of India, they have this mechanism neti neti. It's, in simple English terms, negation. You negate all your biases, all your thought patterns, or your inclinations, which are conditioned based upon your conditioning, based upon your childhood, based upon the program which were fed by your family, by society, by nationality, by your friends, by your education system. When you let go of every single thing, you come to the reality of yourself, and then you start exercising your essence, and then it creates this ripple effect in this external reality, which then bestows a lot of gift to you. When you let go of all the baggage which you have been carrying, you come to this state of still mind, a state of no mind, which in Zen it's called Mushin. There is no mind, there is no conditioned algorithm which has been disturbing you, which has been creating hindrances for you. You come to your essence. There is no subject, there is no experiencer. There is just this real witness which is witnessing everything, which is witnessing itself, and which is allowing its gift to get executed in this external world. And this motion, this still mind, this no mind gives you this clear perception of reality. And this clear perception of reality gives you the clear understanding of what it is, what it is not, and what you need to do and what you should not be doing, which is against your nature. So, the still mind is not emotionally charged because of any kind of subjective experience. This still mind is established in the present moment, which means it is not roaming in the past. It is not fixated in the future that what it is going to get in future. No expectation, no anticipation, totally established in the present moment, and you cannot perceive this present moment. You can just be this present moment. You cannot perceive, because the moment you start to perceive this present moment, you again create this split of subject and object, and then you again start to roam from past to future. You again miss this point. So you can just be this present moment. You just settle yourself in the still mind, in this calmness, in the silence, in the solitude, and from here everything happens. All the magic happens from here. And then when you are established in this still mind, you are considering all the aspects of the situation, of the event, of the people which you are dealing with, without any emotional charge, without any bias. You're considering everything with open mind, open heart, and then this helps you to exercise your discretion, which is called viveka in Sanskrit. You exercise your discretion, you analyze everything empathetically, not like a machine, and then you discreetly choose what is the right thing to do. So when you exercise this exercise of neti neti, one by one you are letting go all these filters which are consist of interest, your biases, your fixations, your inclinations, your thought patterns, all the loops which happens in your mind, all the chatter which your mind creates. You erase this lens of perception, you delete this lens of perception, and then you start to perceive this reality as it is directly, and there is no filter in between. And let me tell you that this process takes some time, totally depends on your openness of mind, openness of your heart, your practices, your meditation, your mindfulness. Sometimes people who are stubborn about their fixations, it takes a lot of time. But if you open yourself, it's very easy. The more you are serious about yourself, the sooner you get the results, the sooner you let go of all the sheets of Maya, all the sheets of fabrication. You get to the essence very soon, and then you start to perceive this reality as it is. You start to see yourself as you are in reality, and then you start to exercise your expression in this world, and you start to participate in this play, in this Leela, and then you enjoy. You play, you exercise your expression, you are in total sync with the reality, and then there is no suffering because there is no mind. There is you, and you are being you in sync with reality. You are a part of reality, and you take action. The reality responds to you with its appropriate reaction, appropriate response. And that's how you start to flow with the flow of nature. That's how you become the Tao. That's how you become the Wu Wei. So I hope I covered everything. Just in case you're confused about something or you have any kind of doubt, comment down below. I'll reply you. I'll try to clarify your doubt. We'll see each other again in the next video. Till then, bye. Take care. Ciao.